Alright, time for another video. So in this one, I want to talk about new rays as more like involved in this whole galactic trading, black market, messing with people, and also the afterlife of like possibilities of what can happen after people die. And in this race, specifically, I was looking at a case of a person who incarnated here on Earth long ago, then died, then came back in the 1300s and died, and then came back recently. And so this person, this is the first time on Earth, and we were looking, why did this person came here? What happened? And what happens in between? Like, what happens in that time period where, let's say, first like lifetime, then there's space gap of life and doing something else, incarnation, another gap, incarnation. So we're looking at these like gaps, one of them is a really interesting thing where the physical body on the second time, like second lifetime on Earth, drops dead. And it's basically you close your eyes at the moment of death, you open them, you're in another body, another place. The transition is smooth as can be, as if like you just blink and boom, life is here. So what happens? Just like this person, the physical body drops dead on the second lifetime on Earth. At the moment of death, she closes her eyes, she opens them, and she's in this spaceship. She sees this like white tall reptilian, and it's like a hybrid. It's basically 17, 20 feet tall, like massive, freaking massive. And like a reptilian, like wide as can be, not a single scale, it's just super wide and like kind of like if I was to sort of like basically see him right in front of me and touch him, the skin is like super smooth, cold as hell, but really smooth. Like it's just like wow. Yeah. Anyway, and this like reptilian, it has this like long nose, like the usual reptile lizard schnoz, and then basically it has kind of like the mix up with the amphibians where this reptilian has kind of like those little fins on as almost like a sears and stuff, but also a bit on like the elbows, like it goes off as this also, and at the same time like where we have the tailbone, it's kind of like instead of the reptilian tail, it's more like a humanoid body, but it has this little triangle-ish thing. It's like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, it's like tall white reptilian and also like part of like humanoid, whereas like has two arms, two like legs, full of like strong as can fucking be. It's whoa, you look at the body and just like assuming, like getting in his point of view and being able to sort of like boom, like harness in that body, it's freaking strong. And the thing about like these beings, I had like their name written down, like I was like actually making contact and stuff. Um, Kryton or Kryton or however you would call it. So basically, it's Kriuton. That's what it's like. It's said in their language, but like I was asking, like, hey, can you translate it in English? Because like I don't really understand, or like if it has a meaning and stuff. It's basically White Ash Clan. So if some of you meet Krytons or Croutons and uh, meet anyone like from the White Ash Clan, be aware because this is like these beings are amazing, but in a bad way. They're really they're not good beings. So basically, the whole picture about them is like they're super strong, tall, intelligent, like smart, super smart. And basically, they are so advanced that they can like look at the person. And it's kind of like looking at the eyes and like how you can look at the eyes and like see the person's soul and stuff. It's pretty much like that, where they look at you, they can access all about you, your memories, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, all of that. And next thing that happens is that they can access your Akashic records, not change them, but basically see what you've been through, see what you have experienced in your whole life and everything that you've been through, and basically see like, oh, is this person worthy for us or not? And what happens is like this specific group, Croutons, is they abduct people, they kidnap them, but only after death. So, for example, a person closes their eyes at the moment of death, and people might be taken. So, some of these races, it's like Cretan specifically, what they do is like people that have passed away, they target someone and just take them, like abduct their consciousness. So like once you open their eyes, you're already in this like artificial body. It's not yours. It's not a copy of you or anything. It's more like they take your consciousness and put you in like one of their, like, let's say organic bodies or like artificial bodies, like whatever synthetic stuff. They have tons of them. And so once they have you, it's kind of like, you're being like basically tied up to a chair in their whole spaceship. They have technology similar to the Faraday's cage, where it's pretty much like not allowing you to escape as a consciousness. So like, like they have technology that will sort of hold you here and will not allow you to move away or escape and stuff. And so like a being is basically stuck on this chair. It's kind of like, like a, let's say, electric chair, pretty much like that. So they have like ways of zapping you, of messing with you. And one of their biggest things, like, well, while accessing their Akashic records, what they do is that they try to see how worthy are you. Are you worth trading? Are you worth doing something with? Or you're just like some schmuck from a weird town, like worth nothing? Basically you look at the aspect of what you've been through in life and stuff. So once they see what you've been through, once they scan your past lives, they're pretty much like trying to use their technology to sort of like suppress your memory of the past lives, which is like kind of like creating this blockage or a wall. And basically, you can look at your past lives, you can have full memory, but it's this wall that is not allowing you to go through specifically. And it's kind of like, I don't know, like on the programming terms or whatever. If you have full access, there's going to be this little blockage that you have to beat up, like this little obstacle or whatever, and once you're done with it, then you can sort of recall past life. So that's just like one little thing. Another thing is that as consciousness, you are basically this infinite energy. You're infinite. You have never-ending energy. And what they do is kind of like they're trying to turn off the axis, which means all of a sudden this massive consciousness and massive energy that you have is kind of like shrinking. So you still have access, but they're making sure you can't get all of it. You're going to be limited in that way. So people in this life might end up being more exhausted, more tired. They feel like, like they could do so much if they only had that energy, but it's not there. And this kind of like is a trap where, like people are like, they can do so much, but really no energy. They're like all day long, they can feel tired, exhausted, like, like really just do a few things during the day, but like it's pretty much limited. And so once they're done with you, once they're like done sort of like locking you up, trapping, making sure you can't use your energy, you can't access your past lives for any possible tricks on escaping, you can't access races that you've been in contact with so that they would come and help you and stuff. They're really trying to sort of like turn everything off and isolate you in this like spaceship, make sure like, okay, we finally got this person. And now what they do is pretty much like using technology that would be like a hypnotic command. And so as a consciousness, you're just sitting there and like people can get hypnotized and you start barking and doing whatever the hypnotist is telling you to do. And once they tell you to wake up, you basically don't remember anything. You're like, what just happened? Why is everyone laughing at me? What did I miss and stuff? So this whole thing, they can hypnotize you. And as a conscious, like basically, boom, you're not aware anymore. You're not fully conscious. And now you're like sort of acting on automatic. And what they do is like they give you commands. And for 10 years, for a few hundred years, you, as a person who has been messed with and hypnotized, end up working for them. And basically, these are like this is like separate group. They're not related to the elite. They're not related to humans, not anyone. This is like the group by itself who is looking for a way to like get something for themselves. They're basically like traders. They're doing like kind of like galactic black market stuff. And what happens is like, like once they abduct people like us, like after our death, they mess with us for a little bit, but once they knock us out and sort of like hypnotize us for a few hundred years or for however long, we end up being their little tool, their little thing. So they end up trading us off as a labor. And we might work as like super soldiers, or let's say creating their planets, creating their technologies. For example, these beings, they really need to harvest materials. They need to land on a planet, find specific materials, and they're like put their time into building things. Beings like you, because you have creativity and imagination, which they do not have, can simply, spaceship, okay, boom, right it is, right in front of you, a few hundred meters long and stuff like that. Like you can create all the details. And they're like going to be like fascinated because you can do what they cannot. You can only do what they dream of, and like just like, whoa, like we lucked out if we capture these beings and stuff. So pretty much like use a super soldiers for wars, and you're working on automatic. You're basically not aware of anything until the moment you're like, okay, we're done with you. So for however long you've been serving, you might have been creating planets, creating technologies, fighting their wars, other things. And what happens throughout this whole period of time, they're trying to target our values. Basically, if you're a person who's like, oh, I hate when animals are being abused, they're going to make sure you end up abusing animals. If you're the one who's basically okay, this is my lover, I love this person, and if anyone hurts him, I will not forgive them or whatever. And basically, like, kind of fighting for justice, like, really all about love and making sure, like, you're loyal or whatever, like, whatever values you have in life, they try to target those. So that all of a sudden, once you're done with this whole programming and stuff, they target what is most important to you. And once you're done with this, then pretty much like, okay, we're finally done with you. And you come back here and they forcefully send you back on Earth. So basically, reincarnating here on Earth another time, but all of a sudden, you have more blocks. So you might appear as being shy, like hard to express yourself, hard to do things, lots of limitations and blockages, and really kind of like adapting yourself, having lots of these obstacles in life and hard to move on, hard to express yourself, like all these like issues and stuff. And so whatever precious you hold in your life, like whatever means to you, whatever is valuable, is what got targeted. So in this lifetime, it's basically kind of like a setup to make sure that you go through more of these incidents where it's going to be like sort of like touched and targeted, so that you would have a harder time going through it all. And now it's basically they're sucking out your luge from all these incidents and stuff, and it's kind of like a programming. So this whole group is basically kidnapping people after their physical body drops dead, using them as a tool, as a like labor for however long, and then they push us back on Earth. But throughout this whole period of time, they suppress our energies, they suppress our memories from the past lives, and they make sure they target our values and other things that will basically help us in life and like what we're all about. And once we're here, we're going through a lot of these hardships. So that being said, if you notice that you might have like this kind of like hard time accessing your real energy, you might be meditating, eating healthy, and still just feeling exhausted, can't access your energy. Keep in mind that there's this group of people, or you might have been going through this whole thing, and what happens is like all you have to do is like focus on this incident. You might not remember it completely, but you just focus. Okay, so let's say there's this group of Kruyons or like White Ash Clan and stuff, and for example, I've been on that spaceship. What do you do? Okay, well, if I was zapped and my memories got suppressed and stuff, and there's this mechanism that keeps me sort of limited in this kind of like Faraday's cage so that I would not be able to get out of body while I'm here in the physical, well, I'm going to imagine all those things being destroyed. I no longer agree that I'm a victim of this, and basically removing any possible agreements, imagining their whole spaceship blowing up, thinking of, like how you're free from these things, and simply thinking like if there is this Faraday's cage kind of technology that keeps your physical body controlled and limited in the way where you can't get out of body, you can't be free, your like energy is sort of limited and stuff like that. You simply imagine that this whole mechanism that is like fighting against you is being destroyed. And so you sort of like imagine it pulling it apart, or okay, if there's this cage, what you do is like you expand it, but then expand it not just in your room, but throughout the whole house, throughout the whole apartment, throughout the whole city, universe, and boom, you break it. Like however much you need, just imagining that whole thing breaking apart. And once that is done, you can simply think of, okay, so like as consciousness, I have infinite source of energy. I allow myself to get full access of it. I allow myself to recall memories. And basically, you just sort of like program yourself and work on getting back the real connection, getting back the connections with the energy that you have, with all the passive memories, with the beings you've met. And you basically break down the whole control and all these limitations that you've been through, you remove them. So again, like I just got aware of this group today. It's pretty interesting to see what kind of people are out there. And hey, you might not be the only one who've gone through this, because I'm like seeing a lot of people go through various traps. And whatever I find, I try to bring it to the awareness. It might sound scary, but the thing is, the more aware we are of these things, the more ways we'll have to protect ourselves. Because, for example, all I have to think of is a spawning point. For example, okay, in video games terms, when your physical body dies, or like when your body dies, you're gonna appear in the spawning points, which means body dies, you're gonna appear here. This is like a safe point, like a checkpoint, like a place where you're going to appear after death. And you can sort of imagine, okay, once my physical body drops dead, my consciousness will appear in this place. And this place being, you can create your own realm. You can go to the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, anywhere you want. But you yourself program your spawning point, which means once your physical body drops dead, you already programmed where your consciousness will go. And so boom, all of a sudden you have this program that like on the moment of death or something, your consciousness will go to this safe haven, safe place where you created, like where it's all by you, or wherever you directed yourself to. And all of a sudden, you might be in a paradise. You close your eyes at the death, you open your eyes, and hey, beach, whoa, nice day and stuff. So, try this out. And I'm just like trying to bring things to your awareness and trying to give you options of what to do and stuff like that. So, hopefully, this will be helpful and give you some insights. And maybe if you have gone through something similar, please share your stories because people are going through a whole lot of stuff. And some people can't explain anything, like what the hell's going on. They just need understanding and explanations. And I'm trying to provide as much as possible if I can and stuff. That being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.